Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a lot of updates to go over here with you regarding this upcoming attack from Iran and its proxy groups. We've got a lot of information to discuss here, but one of the big things that have been announced here in the last 24 hours is that the US is sending 12 warships to the Middle East, okay? And over 4,000 Marines will be heading over there as well. This is going to be for Israel's defense because we know Israel's going to come under a major attack here, okay? I don't think this is going to be a small attack. I think it's going to be much larger than what we saw in April because in April, it was mainly just Iran and Hezbollah firing into Israel. Okay, we had some reports this morning as well that Hamas was firing rockets at Israel once again. So it looks like Hamas was able to find some more rocket launchers and some men to get this done as well. And they were firing at Israel just in the last 30 minutes or so at the time that I record this. So we're going to go over multiple things here today. I want to go ahead and get right into this and not delay. So let's talk about some of this stuff that's going on. We've got a lot of posts to go over here on X. So this one's from Hananya, I think it's Hananya Naftali, breaking the U.S. has sent 12 warships, including the USS Theodore Roosevelt, with over 4,000 Marines and sailors to the Middle East, a senior Pentagon official confirms. So think about this. The last time Israel came under attack, I don't think the U.S. sent this much hardware over here, okay? This much equipment. 12 warships going to Israel, and last we knew there was several other warships that were there as well. I think there was already 3 that were sent just a month ago or so when Hezbollah was threatening to start attacking Israel, and Israel was saying they were going to invade Lebanon, and we were hearing that the U.S. was already sending some amphibious landing ships over there to start evacuating people from Lebanon if American citizens, that is, if this war were to break out between Hezbollah and Israel. So I have no idea what's going to happen here, but all we can really see from the surface here is that something major is coming, okay? And this could definitely turn into a major war in the Middle East. So we're going to have to see what happens and when it's going to happen. We're still trying to figure out when Iran is going to attack, but I think it's going to be sometime soon. It's already Friday, August 2nd, 2024, so this thing could be coming at any moment, either today or tomorrow, most likely. Okay, so let's go over some more information here. This is from the Times of Israel. It says, U.S. announces new military deployments to defend Israel after Biden speaks with Prime Minister. So this came out yesterday as well. And these military deployments, we don't even know what these are. I was actually checking out this article, and we don't even have any information as to what these military deployments are. We do know that the U.S. is sending 12 warships over to defend Israel, and we know that for the most part, that's the reason why all these warships are going there, are in defense of Israel. And I'm going to be showing you guys more information. There's lots of things that are happening that are very similar to what we saw happening back in April when Israel came under attack. We're going to be seeing a lot of the same countries coming to the defense of Israel again. So it's going to be very, very similar. But the only difference this time is we're going to have more proxy groups getting involved. We're going to have proxy groups in Syria and Iraq, and also the Yemen Houthis have declared they're going to get involved as well. And I'll show you that here in just a moment. This is from the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. The Department of State has raised its Lebanon travel advisory from level 3, reconsider travel, to level 4, do not travel. We recommend the U.S. citizens enroll in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program STEP to receive alerts. So I wanted to share this with you guys. This actually came out about maybe almost 3 days ago, but I actually didn't even know that the U.S. had upgraded the travel advisory to level 4. I thought it was still at level 3, and then I found out it was at 4. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with you in case you weren't aware of this. This means do not travel at all to Lebanon because something big is coming. And this is how we know that something big for sure is coming, okay? The U.S. would not issue a level 4 travel advisory and at the same time be sending 12 warships over to the Middle East near Israel. They would not be doing any of this if something big was not coming, okay? And this is obviously going to have to do with Lebanon as well if this travel advisory is issued for Lebanon. Okay, so something as big is going to be coming in Lebanon here very soon. Check this out as well from the official X account of Israel. Rocket alarm sounding in southern Israel. We will not allow Israelis to be terrorized by Hamas, Hezbollah, or any other Iranian proxy. Okay, so we had alerts in southern Israel again. due to rocket attacks coming from Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So now we've got Hamas attacking Israel once again. This is probably the first time they fired rockets in, I don't know, maybe a week or longer. We reported not too long ago, no more than maybe a couple weeks ago, Hamas had fired some rockets. And that's also why we did a whole report that Israel was moving back into eastern Khan Yunis to try to eliminate Hamas in those areas, because they had been firing a lot of rockets from like central Khan Yunis. And it was also part of Al Mawasi, which was the designated safe zone for the Palestinians that are supposed to be getting away from the conflict. So take a look at this as well from Globi News. Iran has officially informed the United Nations of its intent to carry out a retaliatory action of self-defense against Israel in accordance with Article 51 of the UN Charter. Okay, so they are following in accordance with that Article 51 of the UN Charter, that they have the right to attack Israel, considering that they claim they were under attack. Because from what we understand, it was an Israeli airstrike that struck a building of a residence inside of Tehran, the capital of Iran, and assassinated Ismail Haniyeh. Okay, but then we had information coming out after that, which is very interesting, because this information was conflicting with this. I think it came out of the New York Times or some major publications stating that this was actually a remote-controlled bomb that was planted inside of Ismail Haniyeh's home, or residence, excuse me. So does that actually give Iran the right to do so? I mean, what if it wasn't Israel that planted the bomb? Who knows? But it looks like Iran doesn't care. They're going to go ahead and just stick with that same story that it was an airstrike, and they're just going to go ahead and attack Israel now. So that's the plan from Iran, is what it seems like. So from Assad, commentary up next. Iran will lead the initial response against Israel with the assistance of Iraq, Yemen, and Syria. Then Hezbollah will also respond in a second wave. So look at that. Okay, multiple countries getting involved here: Iraq, Yemen, Syria, and Hezbollah and Lebanon. So 4 countries going to attack Israel all at once, along with Iran. Okay, Iran is going to attack first, according to this information, and then the proxy groups in Iraq, Yemen, the Yemen Houthis, Syria, and also Hezbollah in Lebanon are going to respond with a massive wave of attacks too. And then remember this, don't forget that Hezbollah has lots of capabilities, okay? Lots of capabilities they haven't even come out and shown yet, okay? Hezbollah's got potentially up to 1 million rockets or more from what has been reported. So just Hezbollah alone, with the amount of capabilities that they have, could definitely put some major pressure on Israel, on their Iron Dome system, okay? And off all these other rockets and drones come in from Iran and the Yemen Houthis and everything. This is just going to be a massive attack. That's why we're sending 12 warships over to the Middle East, because Israel's going to need some major defense, and this is going to be absolutely insane, guys, once this gets started. Here's an alert from the Times of Israel. Live update report: Iran planning to launch drones at Israel from Syria as part of a threatened retaliatory attack. Okay, so apparently they're sending drones over to Syria as well, where they will also fire drones from that region also. Okay, so next up as well from Times of Israel alerts again. Live update: IDF chief tells troops in Gaza Israel's willing to go far to strike anyone who attacks us. Okay, so think about this. We know that right now Israel is just so fed up with all the attacks, okay? They are willing to strike wherever. They've shown that. They struck the port of Hodeidah. They struck Beirut. They struck Tehran, supposedly, right? And if it wasn't an airstrike, was it an Israeli bomb that was planted in that house that supposedly eliminated Ismail Haniyeh, the top Hamas leader? We don't really know for sure, but that's what it appears to be on the ground, or at least Iran stating it was an airstrike. Okay, so they're willing to strike anywhere. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's Iran, whether it's Lebanon, whether it's Yemen. They will strike and do whatever is necessary to respond to anyone who attacks them. So imagine what's going to happen here if, very simple terms here. Hold on. Hezbollah attacked last night inside of northern Israel, right? We did a whole report on that. Let's back up for a moment. And then Israel immediately responded maybe 30 minutes later. I showed you guys that footage. They responded and struck this Hezbollah rocket launcher unit almost immediately, okay? Within like 30 minutes, they struck that. So Israel is very quick to respond now. So imagine when all of these groups at the same time convulge and start attacking them. Imagine the responses coming from the Israelis, and is the US going to get involved in this now? Are the other coalition of countries that are going to come to back Israel going to get involved, and this is going to spark a major war in the Middle East? We have no idea, but just think about that for a moment. Israel alone, okay, they will not allow anybody to attack them without any kind of a response. So just imagine the response is going to come from a major attack from all these proxy groups and Iran at the same time. Just something to think about. Here's from Israel Katz. I spoke today with UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy about our fight against Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Iran is the head of the snake of the terror axis, and we need to join hands in order to address this threat to regional and global security. This is from the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Israel, okay? The Foreign Minister, Israel Katz. So he's coming out once again and saying they need to deal with Iran. Okay, so what's going to happen after this? There's lots of talk about whether Israel will potentially strike Iran's nuclear facilities. Okay, are they going to try to denuclearize Iran? Is this a trap to drag Iran into this to give Israel the opportunity to potentially go and strike Iran and take out their nuclear facilities? Who knows what this is, but it definitely seems like that could be the case. Here's an update from Nexta. France is calling on its citizens in Iran to leave the country immediately. Okay, so now we're even having countries telling their citizens to leave Iran as well. Okay, so that's a big sign. What we were just talking about right now, is there going to be a retaliatory strike on Iran as well? Very big possibility. Okay, I've heard that Iran is also deploying S-300 air defense systems around their country because they're expecting retaliation from Israel, potentially even the United States after this too. So absolutely insane, guys. From the Times of Israel alerts, next up, live update, IDF, at least 10 rockets fired from Gaza at southern Israel, one intercepted, others impact open areas. So this was some information that came out today saying rockets were actually fired from Gaza towards southern Israel. And thankfully, most of these just impacted in open areas. Nobody was harmed as far as we know. From Iran Observer, next up, just in, paramilitary forces have begun moving from Iraq to Bukamal in Syria, says Syrian Kabar. Okay, so now we've got Iranian proxy groups moving into from Iraq into Syria, closer to Israel, preparing to attack them. Okay, so is this going to be a major ground invasion at the same time? What in the world is going to happen here? Is this just going to be an aerial attack? Or are we looking at a potential ground invasion? Because we've heard of this before, okay? We've heard that if Israel attacks Hezbollah, that these groups in the Middle East and in Iraq and Syria would come to aid Hezbollah in an actual ground fight, okay? Ground battle against Israel. So this thing has so many strange question marks being thrown out on it. We have no idea what exactly is going to happen, but we know for sure a major response is coming on Israel at some point soon. BRICS News says, Kuwait says it will never allow the nation's land or airspace to be used as launch pads for military attacks against a brotherly country like Iran. Okay, I want to say Kuwait said the same thing back in April. So that's what I was saying. We're seeing a lot of the same things again. Kuwait coming out and saying, don't even think about it, U.S. You're not going to be able to use our land or our airspace as launch pads to conduct strikes against Iran. You're not going to be able to do that. We saw that back in April too as well. I believe it was from Kuwait and many other countries over there. Next it says, Instagram has been blocked in Turkey without explanation. A number of Turkish media write that this may be due to the fact the platform began to delete condolences in connection with the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. So this is something big that's going on right now too. I don't want to talk about this for too long, but just briefly, is that there's lots of countries starting to block social media platforms, especially Instagram, in connection to either a protest. It seems like it could be a protest on this platform to, just like they say here, that there was condolences being shared all over Instagram and they were being blocked. Some people say as well that that Instagram is controlled by the Zionists, which is Israel, and they're basically holding a protest and blocking this in multiple countries. I think even Bangladesh was doing this. Lots and lots of countries blocking access to Instagram, and then we know as well that even Russia was starting to block access to like YouTube and stuff like that. I think even like some Google services. I was hearing something along the lines of that. I don't know all the details on that, so don't hold me to account on that, but we are starting to see a lot of this too, which I think is very interesting. And imagine as well that if any major war is about to break out, wouldn't one thing that you would want is to control the narrative, control the flow of information. Okay, isn't that something that you would probably want to do if for a country, if a country were to break out in war? Because obviously satellites are going to be start to be used as communication for militaries and all these different things. So I just wanted to share that because I thought that was a little scary to see this and something to think about too. I was actually just laying on my couch last night thinking about some of this stuff, and I was like, man, what if we are on the verge of something major happening here? Something much worse than we expect. You know, it could definitely happen. And I can't say it didn't send a chill down my spine, even just thinking about it right now, that something big really could be coming from this. What if this does spark some sort of major regional war or world war? This could be the very beginning of that right now because it's looking to be much worse than what we saw in April. So check this out as well from Mosin T Defender. Despite ongoing claims by Iran that Hamas chief political officer Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated by an Israeli missile strike on his residence in Tehran, U.S. Middle Eastern officials are now reported that the Hamas leader was actually killed by a remote-triggered explosive device that was smuggled into the RGC guest house several months before the assassination, with the device similar to the remote-triggered machine gun that was used by Mossad in 2020 to kill the top Iranian nuclear scientist, Mohsen Zadeh. That's a hard last name to say. So yeah, look at this. I mean, this is apparently a photo of the home that Ismail Haniyeh was staying in, okay? And based on this photo, I mean, I don't know if this photo was taken after the strike or what happened here. I don't know if this is where that happened at. Maybe they covered it up with some mesh screen there, or I don't know what's hanging there. But we don't see any evidence of an actual airstrike. At least I haven't seen any pictures. If this is not a photo of the aftermath, I mean, if it is, then for sure it doesn't look like an airstrike to me. This building would have been demolished. So I don't know what's going on with that. I think that's a very strange story, regardless. But Iran believes that Ismail Haniyeh, the top Hamas leader, was killed by Israel. Okay, so check this out as well from Vivid. Breaking: Jordan will intercept and shoot down any missiles or drones that enter its airspace on their way to Israel. So we saw this back in April. Jordan helped out Israel. They're going to be doing this again. So there we go. There's some more resemblance of what happened back in April. From World Affairs, breaking news: Houthis are now preparing to hit Israel with all possible measures. Houthis called Israel a terrorist state and occupier of Palestinian people. Okay, so Houthis are going to get involved as well. There's your confirmation as well on that. From Globe Eye News, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah says, "I am ready to be a martyr." Okay, so he's ready to basically die for his beliefs and become a martyr like many of the other Hamas leaders, Hezbollah leaders that have been taken out. Apparently, this is a statement that he said that he's ready to become a martyr. So I just wanted to share that with you. By the way, he's the Secretary General of Hezbollah, if you weren't aware of that, the leader of them. So Iran Observer says this time Ayatollah Khamenei did not use the word punishment, but blood for blood when he spoke of settling accounts for Israel for the assassination of Haniyeh. So that's something interesting too, because we heard before, back in April, Ali Khamenei said that Israel would be punished, okay? But according to this information, now we're not seeing punishment no more. We're now seeing blood for blood. So this means that Iran, along with the proxy groups, are going to try to get actual revenge and actual blood for the blood that's been spilled on their own countries, okay? So Hodeidah got bombed, port of Hodeidah in Yemen. We had lots of people that were injured and killed in that strike, unfortunately, innocent people. The Beirut strike on the top Hezbollah leader, Ismail Haniyeh being taken out in Iran. So they want actual blood. They don't want just punishment anymore, according to this information. So it's going to be a big attack, guys. Iran Observer again. Just in, Iran has warned the U.S. Through its allies that if they make a mistake, all their assets in the region will be taken over and struck hard, says Al Jazeera. So these are all the military assets in the Middle East, different air bases, naval bases, military bases throughout the Middle East that could potentially come under attack if the U.S. makes a mistake, quote unquote. Okay, so what is that mistake going to be? You have no idea. Is it maybe more than just getting involved with defending Israel? That's a potential. Maybe if they do more than just defending them, which, like I talked about, it could be a possibility. We'll have to see what the U.S. does after Israel comes under attack. So from Vivid, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel is at a very high level of preparedness for any scenario. Any act of aggression against Israel will result in a very heavy price. Okay, so once again, Benjamin Netanyahu is going to issue any kind of an attack wherever it might be. Okay, if they come under attack, they're going to respond to all threats. Okay, that's something he has come out and made very clear. But how are they going to do this when all these forces attack at the same time? It's going to be absolutely insane to see how they respond to this. And it could get very scary depending on what happens. Couple more things to share with you. I know it's been a longer video, so thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Mossad commentary: Hezbollah headquarters was bombed in southern Lebanon, 5 killed and 10 wounded. So this came out actually just yesterday, and apparently Israel had bombed a Hezbollah headquarters. So take a look at this real quick. Now, we have seen this countless times, okay? Israel bombs everything all over southern Lebanon, so that's probably somewhere where this took place, somewhere in Lebanon, obviously, because this was Hezbollah. But that was some pretty big news that came out, and this wasn't even really widely reported. I kind of just found this just kind of browsing through X, and I was like, wow, I didn't even hear of this, that Israel supposedly struck this Hezbollah headquarters. So according to Mossad commentary, that's the video footage that we're seeing right now. This came out yesterday. So a couple more things from Vivid: breaking: Hezbollah is evacuating its headquarters in Beirut and transporting weapons from the area, according to reports in the Saudi Al Hadath channel. They're getting ready should Israel strike while they're moving everything rather than waiting for them to act. That's a good question, but it looks like they're going to wait. I'm pretty sure they're going to wait, and they're going to wait for some sort of major response to come from all these groups, or Iran first. If Iran is going to attack first, we're going to have to see what happens. And then Israel is going to respond to this. I think what happens here first is maybe the Israel and the U.S., along with its allies, will probably help defend from the attack first. Then we will probably see a wave of attacks coming soon after that, is what I would think would happen next. Check this out from current report. Just in, Israeli settlers are rapidly leaving the country in fear of an impending attack by Iran and Hezbollah. So we're seeing this again. We saw this back in April. Lots of people in the airports trying to get out of here. So take a look at this as well. So not the best video footage. It is very blurry. I understand. I'm sorry about that. But we can see lots and lots of people. I mean, look at these lines. Look at all these, like this fence that they put up here to keep people in line. And look at how long it is, okay? So lots of people trying to get out of the country now before something bad happens. And finally, from the Times of Israel: IDF on high alert as Biden vows U.S. to defend Israel against all threats from Iran. Okay, so President Biden of the United States is going to defend Israel against all threats. Okay, regardless of what happens, they will defend them. All right, we know this. We already know the U.S. has come out and stated that literally just a couple of days ago. While U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was in the Philippines, he came out and reiterated that claim that the U.S. is going to back Israel in any kind of a fight. Now, will they engage in any offensive operations? I have no idea. I think it is likely. Like I said, in my personal opinion, I believe that this could be a setup for Iran, so that way Israel or even the U.S., but I think it'd be more likely Israel that would do this, could go after Iran's nuclear facilities, okay? Because we know the U.S. does not want Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon, and we just literally reported that maybe about 2 weeks ago from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He stated that at a conference that Iran was right around the corner, like a week away, okay? And if the U.S. Secretary of State is stating that, I would believe that more than over like, some top heads of the IAEA or something like that, like Rafael Grossi or something, coming out and stating that, okay? Because that means that the U.S. is going to have to act on that, because many times the U.S. has stated they will not allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. So you guys let me know what's coming down below in the comment section. I want to thank you so much for hanging in there with me today. I know it was a longer video, so thank you so much for your patience. I hope you got something out of all this information that I shared with you. I will be doing some more updates as time goes on. There's going to be lots and lots of information coming out from the Middle East, so I'll try to share as much of it as I can for you guys. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. We'll see you in the next one.